electroculture. I'm going to give you two definitions of that. The first, the definition, you'd tell a 10-year-old. You explain it to them. What is it?
Harnessing telluric and earth electrical currents to grow crops that are more resistant to pest, disease, and have higher yields. I don't know if that's simple enough, but
Okay. And then going to someone who's older, but they're big into gardening or market gardening, how would you define it to them?
I mean, you could look at it through Faraday's first law of electromagnetic induction. When you have magnets interfacing with a conductor, voltage is induced. Electroculture is, I guess, a broader term of the utilization of these principles. The antenna heads produce electricity in a myriad of ways, not just through electromagnetic induction. That just might be their primary, because you have the positive cations being collected by the aerial antennas, and then you have at the negative point you have the anions, the negatively charged ions, and when those flux through the wire, they create voltage. And that voltage has the effect of transmuting elements, fixing nitrogen. I mean, it fixes ammonias into nitrogen that are usable. So then you have plants that aren't biocapacitating, accumulating too much ammonia in the soil. They put that ammonia buildup out through the leaves as infrared light. And that's what a lot of the bad insects come for. That's their signal of weak plants. So then they don't come for the plants. And then the collateral damage of them spreading all the soil-borne disease up from the soil when they're crawling around isn't there. So you have kind of this manifold of benefits that just keeps on stacking. And on top of it, yields are staggering. I mean, I can only suggest people try it, because as a farmer, it's like when you go from seeing, let's say just for a real vague idea, like 8 rows of something, and then you start seeing those 8 rows produce 20 times what you were getting. So you cut down to 4 rows, and you add some more lines, and you get what you got the previous year again, and you keep cutting your planting down in half, and you keep getting more yield. That's all I know for a fact just from doing it for years. I practiced this for some years before. I'm pretty averse in my private life until this point. I've been in the shadows doing my work. I'm not really typically one to make videos or to put it out there, but I realized that it was inhibiting me from fulfilling parts of my dharma that were critical. So I chose to go beyond my comfort levels, put myself out there, put my work out there, and here we are.
Yeah. And I think that's powerful. I mean, I think that's a good life lesson for a lot of people right there. And, people can say whatever they want to say about this, but I think the biggest danger in anything is blind dismissal of like, that's whatever, woo woo, versus I think there's a lot of stuff that people in history have known that's been lost as we've gone and kind of got a little more reductionist in thinking and scaled up with technology and things. So we've lost, it's what can a circuit board do, or what can a more efficient means of production do, versus maybe, it's like that what if question. What if ancient farmers knew more about these things than we do today, or ancient other cultures?
Sure.
And we just write it off as like, hey, whatever, put some fertilizer on it, get the tractor out there. That's how you make yields. And we just blow that off. And then those cultures age, die off. And that a lot of times that information goes by the wayside. So I think these conversations are important. So when you had that seed planted, you're going through the classes. At what point do you decide, all right, I'm going to make a go of this and I'm going to try and implement this on my farm? What did that look like?
Kind of a big move. Um, for probably 2 years, I just searched for equipment that I could buy that was comprehensive. I had studied the old books, Crystal Flu, anything I get
Well,
my
let me
hands
pause.
on.
When you look, because we kinda got into this in our DMs. When you go
Mhm.
back and you wanna find information on this, how far back do you have to go to start getting information?
1700s. There's stuff from the 1700s. I have a name just to make sure I'm saying it correctly here. Justin Christopher is kind of thought of as like, okay, that's the guy. He wrote the book, I think, in like 1892. Um, but you have like Andrew Cross before that, I think, in the UK. He was doing experiments with electricity on all kind of levels, but a lot of them were with plants, and they were recording extreme results. Interestingly enough, I mean, right now, if you Google like electroculture China, or for instance, the first thing you'll get, and these are coming from like the World Economic Forum sites, is how staggering the yields of China's crops are utilizing electroculture. Now they're using a real juiced up kind of wild version. It's not what I'm promoting. But then as you're reading all these reports and headlines of sensational yields, the verbiage used is very sensational of how big their yields are, right? Within that, you'll have little things pop up that say, little fact checker things. Is electroculture even real? And you click on it, it's like, these little quasi answers trying to kind of dismiss something amongst all the World Economic Forums telling you how amazing China's doing agriculturally. I'm not saying I believe everything I read, certainly not on the World Economic Forum or any media whatsoever, personally, but just as a contradiction of culture there. And as far as technology, I mean, I feel like the naturalists, quote unquote, as people see some people who may do some things like we do, have been intentionally dissuaded from understanding technology. I think we've been intentionally dissuaded as it being not part of our path or something as to get it out of our control because naturalists and agriculturalists are some of the most innovative people in history all throughout the world.